Hello everyone, welcome to this edition of MeteoMark's Weather. It's great to have you on the channel today. We're going to be talking about one winter storm after another. It seems like we're going to have one area of low pressure just moving up after another. Some of these could go coastal. We'll get into the details of which areas could see actually feet of snow. And looking across the tropics, I'll take you to the Caribbean, the Gulf, as well as the Western Atlantic to see how much tropical moisture the Caribbean islands and Central America could be looking at. Let's get into it. And taking a look at these snowfall totals, a sneak peek. Many areas from later this weekend into the third and fourth week of February here, we could be looking at tremendous snowfall. Some areas approaching 1, 2, 3 feet plus. And looking at our NAM 3-kilometer future radar here, let's take a look, see what we got going on as we stretch through the rest of your Tuesday evening into Wednesday. That snow across the mid-Atlantic, you'll have a couple inches up here in Pennsylvania, New Jersey as well. That moving out. Now look what this sets up behind us. This is a very complex storm system. As you can see, we got some strong thunderstorms to the south here, heavy snow, and then ice right in between these fuchsia and orangish colors. Watch what happens as we stretch through. Here it is, noon actually on Wednesday. So we actually have some strong thunderstorms pushing across Mississippi, parts of Alabama here. Ice here into the eastern Appalachians, southern Pennsylvania, Ohio, and then they've got this heavy snow to the northwest side of this system. Now look what starts to congeal across the northeast here. We get that ice, developing sleet, and some freezing rain around Cleveland, Akron area, all the way down to Columbus. Pittsburgh, you're over to rain at this point already. Surprise, surprise. So as we head through 5 p.m., 6 p.m., 7 p.m., look at this. That nose of warm air does make it into Cleveland by this point, switching you over to rain. That rain-snow line just southeast of Detroit, I should say that snow-ice line, and then that rain-snow line just southeast of Toledo. So Toledo could get quite a bit of ice down to Fort Wayne. I'll go over those totals momentarily here, but look at this. Interior northeast, yeah, look, you start out as snow, but you quickly change to sleet and then freezing rain through 2 a.m. Now look how quickly the rain overtakes much of the northeast here. That rain-snow line pushes all the way up into Vermont, New Hampshire here. So by the time you're ready for your morning commute, with the exception for some of these ridge tops, especially in the eastern Catskills, Poconos area up through the Adirondacks, White and Green Mountains, most of you should be switched over to rain at this point. And then by right around 8 a.m. in Cleveland, you're switching back to some light snow here. So watch out, that freezing line coming back through from the west here. Very complex system. We'll keep an eye on it for you here. Let's take a look at the GFS and the Euro into the weekend. So this is where things start to get interesting. We start to get that return flow out of the south, that rain-snow line just south of the Ohio Valley here. And then it does start to push to the north. Here's 4 a.m. on Saturday morning. Heavy snow breaking out across Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Toledo, Mansfield, just right around Columbus. That's where you're switching over to ice. Now look at a 7 a.m., 10 a.m. We get this burst of snowfall moving across New York and Pennsylvania. And that's going to rack up some snowfall totals here. I'm going to show you those snowfall amounts momentarily here. Now, look at this. As we stretch on into the weekend, we continue to get precipitation amounts overrunning pretty readily here. And we'll get these areas of low pressure just surging along it. You can see we have a steady stream of heavy snow all the way back to eastern Kansas here. Look at northern Ohio here. I'm going to show you the difference momentarily between the GFS and the Euro, but you can see the bursts of heavier snow. This is 7 p.m. on the 15th, so this is getting into Saturday evening, and that starts to pivot towards the northeast. Would not be surprised if you see a squall line moving through parts of Kentucky, southern Ohio, maybe Pittsburgh. That's stretching it. Probably just well, it's possible right around 4 a.m. There's some heavier returns there, but look at this. The GFS is keeping Indiana, parts of northern and western Ohio, northwestern Pennsylvania, all the way up to upstate New York and central northern New England. And the cold side of this system, very complex system, does start to get some rain up into the Susquehanna River Valley here. So this will have to be watched. But for the most part, the GFS here keeping things much colder than the European run. This is still a very complex in-play situation, and I'll show you why here with the European run momentarily. Now, as that low moves up towards Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, There it is, blasting with lake effect snow behind it to start next week, right around the 17th into the 18th. You can see that cold high building into the west, and we get our next system here to the south across the southern plains, the 19th into the 20th. That starts to make a run for the Ohio Valley, the Appalachians here into the mid-Atlantic, the 20th. So this is another system we'll have to keep a very close watch on. Look at this. Heavy snow breaking out across northern Ohio, Indiana, much of Pennsylvania, including Pittsburgh this time, Philadelphia, Harrisburg, Washington, D.C., down to Richmond, Scranton, Binghamton. This moves into New York City right around 10 p.m. on the 20th into the 21st. Yeah, this could be quite a big accumulator here as an area of low pressure starts to wind up the coast here towards New England, and then it does start to wind up here towards New Brunswick, Nova Scotia. I'll show you that in my Canadian weather outlook momentarily here as this low blasts up through the Canadian Maritimes and high pressure building in behind it with another potential coastal by the 24th. This one does look a little bit warmer though, but it does try to bring in some cold air on the backside towards the Ohio Valley and eastern Great Lakes towards the 25th and the 26th. You do have to admit, this is a much stormier weather pattern than we've seen all winter and the last couple winters as well. So a lot to watch here. Any one of these could go crazy. So let's take a look at the European run here. Things are looking pretty interesting, picking up where our future radar left off and our GFS. So here we go. We get this system moving out of the mid-Atlantic. There is that system on its way out midday Wednesday. Our next system looks like it's going to go further west. So this low pressure riding up through central, there it is, central Ohio. This starts out as snow, sleet, and freezing rain in the northeast, and quickly the warm air wins out here, obviously, on the European run. As we head on in behind it, there's the lake effect streamers off Lake Erie, Lake Ontario, especially north of Syracuse. High pressure cuts that off for the first part of the weekend. Now, here's our next system. We could see quite a bit in the way of extreme severe weather here across the Mississippi River Valley all the way up to southern Missouri. Now look at the northern side. We start as snow here in Ohio on Saturday morning, and we transition. See, we're lacking a major cold high up here. That's the problem. The high is over here. So eventually you get this southerly flow, and the low's all the way down here. So normally, if you had a cold high to the north, this would all be snow, but it's not. We're getting that warm air sneaking into Ohio, southwestern Pennsylvania initially. And look at what happens here for Saturday night. The European is continuing to want to push that 32-degree line well north of Cleveland and Erie and State College, Pennsylvania. And to the north is where we'll see that heavy snow in New York State, New England fall. Now, the Euro goes much warmer than the GFS. In fact, has a squall line all the way up to eastern Ohio and Pittsburgh. So we have a lot of disagreement, and this storm is only 3 to 4 days out. So the models hopefully can get their act together here, but the European has continued to stay warmer further north with this system as we head on into Sunday morning. Look what happens, though. It starts to strengthen over eastern Lake Ontario, the Finger Lakes region of New York, 985 millibar low. And on the backside, you start to get that changeover back to snow. Squall line maybe up to New York City if this verifies. And there it is behind it. This could just be a system where we get so much howling wind behind it here. And look at that. As we continue in time, ultimately those isobars mean tremendous wind from the northwest. Now we get another system here. This is much further to the south on Wednesday, February 19th. This could mean severe weather from New Orleans over to Pensacola. Just to the north, we get that light to moderate snow breaking out through parts of the northern Mississippi River Valley over to Virginia again. And then look at this. This does try to go coastal right around the 20th up to Delmarva. Once again, missing most of New Jersey. Hate to tell you that, but, this is pretty far out. So this could end up being further north for all we know at this point. Look at 987 millibars blasting its way out to sea here. No energy back here to help capture this and bring it up towards the coastline. Now, as we head towards the 23rd into the 24th, we get this system. It does try to go coastal as well. Like I said, this is pretty far out, and we got a lot of troughiness and cold air behind this. So if any energy, say this piece of energy were quicker, it could help capture the system and bring it towards the coastline. So that's what we have to watch for this time of year. See how these coastals just try to spin up here. There's another one. So I'll keep you posted here. And looking at our snowfall forecast here for the European run, there is our system. Slowly making an exit here into the mid-Atlantic. Not before we have warning criteria snow of 6 inches or more in many areas. Now look as we head through the weekend here. European run has bumped these snowfall totals further north here, quite interestingly enough. So we do get a shot of some decent snow into parts of New York. A lot of this in northern Ohio here falls on the back side of that system near Cleveland, 7 inches, Erie, 10 inches, Binghamton right around 4 to 6 inches. So there you go. And then look at as we get into next week, we get another mid-Atlantic system. And yeah, things are kind of filling in here. Look at Southeast Canada, though. This is where you're getting up towards 3, 4, 5 feet of snow. And look at this, all the way back in through the Midwest. You know, this is where we are seeing 12 to 18 inch solid amounts. And here's our latest GFS snowfall amounts. Look at this. Yeah. So the mid-Atlantic, there's your bullseye, 6 to 10, maybe 11 inches. Now watch as we get into the weekend. GFS goes crazy far south with the heavier snowfall totals here. So this is looking really, really interesting here as we go out in time. All the way through Wednesday, February 19th. Look at that. We just add more snow on top here. It's going to be a snowy time of it here. Some areas will be approaching 1, 2, maybe 3+ feet. All right, so looking at our European run here, additional snowfall. This takes us through the rest of Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. There's that 6, 8, 9 inches, nation's capital, Delmarva area. It's going to be a narrow band here, and then mainly advisory criteria up here into South Jersey, 2 to 5 inches on average, and then further north and west here an inch or less. Now, as we stretch through, here's our system on Wednesday night and Thursday. Most of the heavy snowfall's well north. This is going to be mainly an ice event over to rain, and then lake effect on the back end here. And then look at this. Yeah, the trends on the Euro have been warmer. Although on the back side, I caution you, this is for Saturday night, Sunday. Look at Cleveland, Toledo, Erie. This would be warning criteria snowfall all the way to Buffalo, Western New York here. And then over towards Binghamton, you know, where we get an initial shot as well, close to 5 inches here. So watch out. We're still in play for a weekend potential complex winter storm here. And then as we go all the way through the 26th of February here, look at this. Yeah, we just add more snow here across the mid-Atlantic, more snow up here into the interior Northeast. Look at Southeast Canada up here, 3, 4 feet easily. I hate to say it, though, but look at the snow hole continues here across much of New Jersey, although South Jersey picking up a bit more here. And if we flip right over to the GFS model here, there it is. It's even a narrower band here, just north of Richmond, south of D.C. here. D.C. is still going to eke out here 6 inches on the GFS model. And then further north, maybe an inch or two. South Jersey, you know, that 2 to 5 inches. So here we go. Our system on Wednesday night, Thursday, mainly pushing those snowfall totals well to the north here in the higher elevations. But look at this. This is what I wanted to show you. The latest GFS going crazy with bringing warning criteria snowfall amounts even as far south, potentially maybe Pittsburgh. It may be advisory criteria, but look at this. All the way down in through parts of Jersey, much of Pennsylvania, upstate New York, and then all the way up here into interior New England. And then more on the back side of it. Look at this. GFS kind of putting this as a multifaceted system here with additional heavy snowfall really kicking in from the eastern Ohio Valley, eastern Great Lakes, all the way up into New England here. So this could be quite a storm here. I'm going to keep an eye on this for you, keep you posted. And look at that, another system here adding more snow next week, right around Wednesday, Thursday, 19th and 20th. Yeah, so some areas could be approaching 3 to 4 feet by the time all this is said and done. So if we look at our HRRR, here it is. So ultimately, if we zoom right in to where it matters for our Wednesday night, in particular Thursday system, there's the snowfall we're looking at. This is the mid-Atlantic system down here that'll be pulling out. So we're talking about 2 systems here. And then look at this. All the snow is bottled up here into Canada with our Wednesday night, Thursday system. Now, if you want to take a look at the ice, here it is. So, yeah, this model always overdoes the ice, but this does seem to be pretty realistic on this run. Heavy ice. Got to watch out for this. Northwestern Ohio, just north of Cleveland. Some of these areas getting 1/4 to 1/3 of an inch. Now look at across northern tier of Pennsylvania, central Pennsylvania, all the way northward into the southern tier of New York, Catskills, Poconos, central parts of New England. This does look pretty realistic. I'm in agreement with this 1/10 of an inch and an average here of freezing rain as we had Wednesday night. So watch out if you have to travel. And flipping this over to the NAM 3 kilometer, our latest run here. Ultimately, you can see what's happening. Yeah, some of this may be a little overdone across Pennsylvania, Catskills and Poconos. There's some areas that it's saying, close to 1/2 an inch of ice. Not really much in agreement with that. I would say 1/10 of an inch on average, close to 1/4 inch in some of those areas, especially that southwestern ridge top area here of Pennsylvania. And then through Ohio, about 1/10 of an inch on average. Northwest Ohio, here it is again, up to 2/10, maybe 1/3 of an inch. I wanted to show you out here in the Midwest as well. Yeah, you're looking at quite a bit of snowfall. That Wednesday night, Thursday system here in Michigan, look at this. That is pretty intense with more snow for the weekend storm. Michigan, Wisconsin, parts of northern Illinois, northern Missouri, Iowa, you could be picking up quite a bit in the way of snowfall here. And that continues through at least through the end of the month here. Look at the snow hole down in through parts of southern Ohio over to Indiana and Illinois. Good equivalent precipitation amounts here on our GFS run. Take a look at this. This is interesting because our system's all the way through the weekend, pivoting from the Gulf Coast all the way up into the Mid-Atlantic and parts of Northeast. That northern periphery is obviously going to be frozen, so a lot of this 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch, close to an inch plus in some of these areas. And look at this, down in through the Southeast. This is where we're getting inundated with anywhere from about 2.5 to as much as 6 inches of rain. And flipping over to the European run here, there we go. We go all the way through the weekend here. There's those surges of low pressure systems, and you can see all the way from eastern Texas, the Gulf Coast area, all the way up into the Ohio Valley, Mid-Atlantic, and the Northeast. This is where we're going to see significant precipitation. And look at this, West Coast, California, really getting quite a bit of precipitation, mountain snow valley rain. And before we continue with more weather coverage here, don't forget, if you made it this far in the video and you like it, smash that like button, everyone. It really does help. Question or comment down below. I'd love to read your questions or comments. And don't forget, if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe bell notification button so you're alerted with all my future weather video updates. Let's continue. And looking at our upper air pattern here, ultimately you can see that ridge across the east. This really does put things in perspective. There's more ridging than trough in the east. But eventually by the 17th here, you can start to see a lot more in the way of storminess across the east coast here of the U.S. and Canada. And then again through the 21st and the 22nd. It just remains stormy here through the end of the month. And looking at the European run, very similar picture here. Ultimately, look at that blocking up there in Greenland. So, it's going to be quite close here, but there it is, that ridge across the east that builds. And then as we just continue through time here, ultimately you can see, if we go out a little bit further here on the European run, there it is, plenty of troughs across the east, ridging up here into central Canada as well. But by the 25th and 26th, European starts to go really crazy with east coast storms and troughiness. If we take a look at the NAO index, we are going neutral. Look at this. All the way through the rest of February, probably into the beginning of March, it's going to be a neutral pattern, so anything is game. And look at our MJO index here. You can see we are going to slowly progress our way towards phase 7 and 8 here. So this is where things get a little bit crazy. So we're going to continue to watch this. It's a work in progress because we've been kind of all over the place with this, so to speak. And ultimately what this means is we're heading towards more cold and snow type patterns across eastern North America. So if we look at the tropics here, taking our GFS model first, and then I'll show you the European run. So we start off kind of quiet here as we head through the 12th into the 13th. We do have some shower activity. Look at all this activity southeast of Trinidad, Tobago down towards Venezuela and some of these other countries down here. You can see a lot of moisture trying to feed up through here. That does stay to the south, but look at the trade winds bringing in this weekend some east-northeasterly showers and thunder showers here around the 14th into the 15th. We do start to see some showers around Jamaica through Panama, Costa Rica area. Look how dry it is up here through Cancun, Belize, Honduras, Nicaragua. You're getting a nice weekend here. A little bit of a break. It's the Lesser Antilles over here. We'll see those showers continue, and then things start to flip a little bit. As we head through next week, we do start to see some more shower action across Central America here. We just zoom in a bit. Most of the activities up here across Florida and the northern Bahamas. But look at this through the 20th, 21st. GFS has gone a little bit less on the precipitation. I'll show you on the European momentarily has gone a little bit more. But look at this. Northeast Caribbean is where the trouble spots are here on the GFS. Jamaica staying unusual. Well, actually, this is your dry season, so to speak. But, you know, much drier than I'll show you the European run here. GFS going very dry, even across Central America over here. So we'll continue to watch it here through the 24th. You know, did you start to see some showers pop up? One thing to note, though, here on the GFS, look at this. The front does make it this far south towards Honduras. So let's see. It does start to clear Jamaica. It does bring some shower and thunderstorm action here through Jamaica, Nicaragua, and then eventually parts of Dominican Republic and Haiti before washing out here. So that's going to be an interesting development as we head through the last week of February. All right, so let's take a look at our European run of the tropics thanks to tropicaltidbits.com. So let's put this into motion here, see how this lines up with the GFS. You know, there's not a whole lot to talk about initially here. We have some scattered showers east of Jamaica, south of the island of Hispaniola, over here towards the Lesser Antilles, and down through Nicaragua, northeastern Honduras here, all the way down to Costa Rica. That's where the rainfall really is prominent here. Now look at as we head towards Friday into Saturday, we do get a surge of tropical moisture here across Central America, another one here across the north central part of the Caribbean. And look what happens right around Saturday. We do start to get a conglomeration of shower and thunderstorm activity from the Lesser Antilles, Puerto Rico, and Dominican Republic and Haiti here, all the way over to Jamaica, and maybe as far west as the Cayman Islands, and through Central America. So as we head into next week, yeah, you get those afternoon pop-up showers and thunderstorms right around Monday here, just like on the GFS. You can see we get those showers and thunderstorm action here really popping up around Jamaica westward here. And then as we head through the 19th into the 20th, we do start to see drier times. Let me just back this up. There is that front. We're not seeing a whole lot of fronts make their way well across the Caribbean. So that is one thing. This part of the front does make it through parts of Cuba and the Bahamas here, but it kind of fizzles out and stalls out and washes out here across Central America. It does start to spark off showers and thunder showers around Jamaica, Hispaniola here through February 22nd, and that front may actually try to come through and clear Puerto Rico before kind of washing out just to the south here around February 24th. So look at this, right around the 26th and the 27th, this is where we're going to start to see an area of low pressure right around Panama and Costa Rica. That could be the start of a big tropical surge all the way up to Honduras and Belize come the end of the month. And here we go with the rainfall amounts across the Caribbean here, Central America, Western Caribbean islands. Yeah, it's actually pretty dry for the most part, unless you go down here, extreme southern Central America, Panama, Costa Rica, all the way up through eastern Nicaragua. It's actually not too bad here. We're lightening up these precipitation amounts all the way through. We could take it through the 24th here. We do start to moisten it up a bit here, especially the north coast of Honduras here, east coast of Belize, all the way down through Panama and Costa Rica here. Could see upwards of close to 100 millimeters, but nothing more than that. Jamaica, you're going to average out here to about 10 to 30 millimeters, so drier times are ahead. Cayman Islands barely a drop here. Northern coastline of Haiti, Dominican Republic, as well as Puerto Rico here, could see upwards of 80 millimeters. Eastern Puerto Rico, you could be getting up to 3 to 4 inches, close to that 120 millimeter mark here. And looking at the European run, very similar as we go through this weekend. Look at this, right around, it's about Monday, Tuesday next week. We do get, let's get that out of the way, showers moving through Jamaica all the way through Belize here. So the European's a little wetter here in Jamaica, upwards 30, 40 millimeters, close to 100 millimeters over towards the northeast parish here, Portland Parish. So watch out, may get some heavier rain here as we stretch through. This is actually There it is. So, yeah, this is getting into next week, right around Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and all the way through the end of the month. So watch out. Europeans kind of going a little wetter here. And let's go right over here to the Eastern Caribbean. Yeah, as we stretch through next week and beyond. Not too bad. You get your daily showers popping up, especially these east-northeasterly facing hills and coastlines here, where you could squeeze out up to 50 to maybe 90 millimeters of rainfall here. Nothing more than 1.5 inches, 2 inches on average. And looking at your Canadian winter storm outlook here, most of Canada is covered in snow. I know some of you across southern Ontario and Quebec have said you're going to have close to feet of snow, and you have a major snowpack already. Now look at as we head on into the 12th, into the 13th. Heavy snow breaking out across southern Ontario and Quebec. This is where you could easily see well over 20 centimeters, 30 centimeters potentially. We're talking about snow in the feet here. 1 to 2 feet pretty easily, readily available here. Low pressure is just pinwheeling to the north. New Brunswick. Now look at, it does start to rain out here in parts of Nova Scotia, extreme southern New Brunswick, Prince Edward Island here, Newfoundland. Now that pulls off to the northeast here. We set us up with another storm moving into southern Ontario right around the 15th into the 16th. That one's a little bit lighter. Until we get to about the 16th, we do start to get heavier snow breaking out across Toronto, Ottawa, all the way over to Nova Scotia, New Brunswick area, southeastern Quebec. Yeah, this is the 16th into the 17th. It does start to change over to rain once again in Nova Scotia, in Newfoundland. Now, behind it, we do have a quiet period of weather ensuing here until about the 20th. We do get a West Coast system out here in British Columbia, bringing in some Pacific moisture, as you can see here, mountain snow, valley rain. And then here in Ontario, southern Ontario towards London and Toronto, Montreal, Ottawa, Quebec City, all the way up to New Brunswick here, the 20th into the 21st. This could be quite a big storm with tremendous snowfall totals here. Once again, this wants to go right over Nova Scotia, bringing that rain-snow line right through you. Now, a little Alberta Clipper moving through Manitoba here, coming from Saskatchewan. That's a weak one, or maybe some bits and pieces of snow squalls moving along it here. And then we get another system moving along the U.S. East Coast that could threaten snow for southern Ontario and Quebec once again. So things are looking really interesting, especially across southeastern Canada here. And we take a look. There's a snow cover here showing up. Most of Canada is pretty much covered. Now, as we take a look at forecast snowfall amounts, look at Southeast Canada, Southern Ontario, Quebec, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia. Nova Scotia is actually missing out a bit on a lot of these, kind of confined to 7 to as much as 15 centimeters. But look at New Brunswick. These areas getting close to 20, 40, maybe 50 centimeters in some of these areas, the West Coast as well. And let's take a look at your temperature maps here as we head on into Wednesday, February 12th here. Look at this cold air in the plains. Then you got 80s along the Gulf Coast here. It's crazy. We do have a warm nose of air snaking its way up into eastern Ohio, southwestern Pennsylvania. I know many of you have not seen too much in the way of snow here, but let's see what happens here as we head through February 13th, Thursday. Yeah, that surge of warmth, 40s and 50s into the mid-Atlantic and Northeast. Look at these single digits behind it, though. Watch what starts to pivot towards Friday. We start to see evidence of a big Arctic blast. Look at down south, though, just continued warm. And then across the Ohio Valley lakes in the Northeast, 20s and some lower 30s into Saturday. Yeah, we do have a winter storm that's going to be on this northern periphery somewhere in here. So we got some cold air locked in place. Depending on where you're at, could see snow, sleet, freezing rain, or the rain. And look at the cold air behind it. So we got 80s along the Gulf Coast, southern states here into Sunday. Look what is blasting in behind this. So yeah, we do see a warming trend to the Northeast, 40s and 50s. But look at Monday. Major deep freeze ensuing here. Extended forecast from our hometown viewers, Binghamton, Scranton, Spur, Susquehanna, River Valley, New York, and Pennsylvania. Yeah, we're going to be looking at that potential later Wednesday into Wednesday night. That potential exists for the snow, sleet, and freezing rain. It should change over to rain most areas by 3 or 4 a.m. on Thursday morning. So that is the good news. It will be get up into the mid-40s on Thursday with the rain. The winds will start to howl out of the west at about 30 miles an hour. So into Friday, we cool it down, sunny skies, though. Into Saturday, we're looking at another potential winter storm. Starting out as snow on Saturday, several inches potentially. But Saturday night and Sunday, there could be some warm air mixing in with maybe a mixture of rain, sleet, snow, and freezing rain all together. And before we continue with more weather coverage, check out these amazing, awesome maps from my affiliate here.
I am proud to announce that I am now an affiliate with Trilogy Maps. TrilogyMaps.com, bringing you the most digital, customizable maps found nowhere else on the internet. These maps are simply stunning. It's an advanced layering system that makes these maps great for making forecast maps with ease or any other maps that you would like to display important information on. The resolution on these maps is simply amazing. From the detail of everything here in the States, and you can also create stunning, digital, professional layered maps from also across the entire world. And don't forget, in checkout, the discount code option, use my code, MeteoMark, hit apply, and you will get 20% off your order. So if you want the most professional, customizable, and affordable weather maps found nowhere else on the internet, look no further than TrilogyMaps.com. Link in the description down below along with your discount code.
As always, thank you for joining me for this edition of MeteoMark's Weather. Also, don't forget to join me on Facebook at MeteoMark, also Weather Northeastern, also Twitter at Weather Eastern. Don't forget it's MeteoMark.com, and don't forget, if you want to send me a coffee, there is a link, Super Thanks. You can smash that Super Thanks button or my PayPal link in the description down below. You can buy me a cup of coffee. Thanks everyone, share that video, subscribe if you haven't, smash that like button.